feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride away.
He's definitely not on the same level as Drake, but I'm not going to lie. He's kind of like capitalizing pretty well off of this, all right? We're going to talk about their back and forth, how Ross is treating this. And by the way, I could have seen this coming from a mile away. First and foremost, Ross survived beefing with 50 Cent. And we all know 50 Cent is probably one of the most pettiest niggas on earth. So if you survive beefing with that nigga to be able to have an outstanding career and do all these things that Rick Ross has done, you must have something about yourself as well. So again, I want to give Ross his kudos, okay? All right. Kendrick, you're on the clock still. You're on the clock. Now, there's a bunch of things happening, right? This is what I believe is happening, okay? And this is, I'm getting tidbits of information. I'm hearing leaks. Random numbers is calling me. I don't know if they think I'm like the FBI hotline or whatever, but whatever. This is what I hear, okay? The next moves to come are being set up by some of the antics you see today, tomorrow, until the track from Kendrick drops. For example, today was the day that media-wise we were consumed, and forget the Rick Ross thing for a second, about ghostwriters. And yes, ghostwriters is back up again a topic. Now, one of the vulnerable parts of Drake is that he's previously, the culture was getting at him for writers, this and third, Quentin Miller specifically. Now we heard about maybe Kendrick had a writer, and then we heard that writer may have wrote for Roddy Ricch, and this, that, and the third. We're going to actually debunk this. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the interesting that's kind of just happened, right? And I've heard about this particular track, and Metro, the reason why I stream, Metro just leaked a Drake reference track. He just leaked it, honestly. He just leaked it, right? Don't know how he got it, but somehow he got it. And he just leaked and apparently sent it to a few like bloggers that he fucks with, Metro, I'm the biggest. You got to send it to the Big Act if you really want it to go out. I'm fair enough. I'll put it out. It's all good. But nevertheless, I got my hands on it. Now, supposedly this is a reference track of Drake. And this is in direct response to Metro and Kendrick's side feeling that the news of the news of Kendrick's ghostwriter is being like hypened up and pushed by Drake's side. So they went and found a reference track of Drake to leak because they feel that Drake is trying to leak something of theirs or push a narrative that Kendrick's using writers. I'm gonna play the track now. It's a track that we all love, but it's Jumbotron shit popping. Metro Boomin has leaked it, and of course he's leaked it text from like some random number or whatever. It's supposedly created by Yachty, and supposedly Yachty was the person who really did all this shit. Okay, I'll play the track now. We'll talk about it in a second, but this is the reference track. Okay, allegedly, right? And we're gonna keep saying allegedly. Here we go. It's gonna sound like I'm a little biased, but I kind of said the same thing with that N95 shit with Kendrick. Unless you catch Drake really rapping a bunch of bars that nigga or some other nigga like has written, bro, this is just like a wavy song to me, bro. Okay, hey, I think it probably helps explain to me why. Which album was this? This ain't Her Loss, is it? No, is this CLB? Which album is this from? Am I moving the goalpost? You can hold me to the fire. Y'all can hold me to the fire. It's fine. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I do think this is why Yachty's been probably telling y'all niggas, yo, stop trying to downplay like my talent, because when I put the same songs out, y'all act like it's mid and trash. But when Drake sings it, if they've worked together, and obviously they're friends, so clearly they probably have. When Drake sings it, y'all fucking love it. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie, he is right. Okay? Because this is a hot song.
I just pulled me off the phone, trying to take stands. Round my afternoon like the whole hands. I said so much last night, it's hard to leave the bed. Then I did the whole find tech in a cold red. If I tell this bitch to pull up, she gon' moped it. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unlit. I don't back and forth over no net, so just gon' dead it. See me when you see me, that bitch smoke, doggy, unleash it. Thick rockin' bitch, this my fave, I'ma gon' beat it. Looking in the mirror, kiss my face, I'm too conceited. Send that bitch home, callin' out the dog, I'm too slime. Shawty gave me up on the first day, that's her wrong. New food fighter, pop an X, like it's that time. That shit kicked in like a two-time world champ. Booted up that shit up and down like a skate ramp. Fake smoker, shit lit up the room like a glow lamp. Who won't smoke? Okay, cool, witness got me fucked up, there I'm too amped. And this bitch leave me like a meal stamp. Strapped up, I give a fuck, I'ma die lit. Real slime, posted at the crib in a sink pit.
Also, it kind of makes sense a little bit why Yachty was giving most of the updates on Her Loss. Do you remember when that was the case? And he was doing the update saying, yo, Her Loss is kind of finished, blah, blah, blah. Not only do I think Yachty is a producer, I do think he's an executive producer and kind of helped curating the sound. I do probably think he probably created some ideas that Drake rocked with, including this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna jump out here and like do some wild stand defending and be like, this is AI. Again, just what I've heard from the grapevine. By the way, I haven't talked to Drake about this. What I've heard from Drake, the grapevine, is that this is a real track. This is a real track, and yeah, Yachty contributed to the album.
Every time.
By the way, Yachty is credited. If you don't know, if we go to, it's on Her Loss, right? Her Loss track listing. If we go to Jumbotron, and actually I think his ad-libs are still left on the track, if you ask me. Yeah. Wait, where's the credits? Yeah, the credits is here. So I think Sad Pony did it, and you see Yachty. Oh, just trying to play it fair.
Say how I feel, I don't fake shit. We ride around with them sticks, we don't do fades. I just pulled me off the phone, trying to take stands. Round my afternoon like the whole hands. I said so much last night, it's hard to leave the bed. Then I did the whole find tech in a cold red. If I tell this bitch to pull up, she gon' moped it. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unlit. I don't back and forth over no net, so just gon' dead it. See me when you see me, that bitch smoke, doggy, unleash it.
Now, let's be honest. Maybe some of y'all are in shock and awe. To me, the muster off of the ghostwriting thing, because like some of y'all, I was once naive that every rapper wrote every line of every song. None of them ever took a hook, a line, a punchline, a reference. They usually just fucking sit there with their pen and pad. That's just not the reality of things, okay? And do I believe that Yachty helped write this shit? Yeah. Now, I'll be honest, I think that's why when certain criticism came about Drake, if he's collaborating with Yachty, right? Yeah, like, what I mean? I think that's where probably even some of Joe's criticism came about, right? Like, yo, what the fuck? It sounds like I'm hearing Yachty through Drake's voice, maybe, right? But, yeah, this is a strategic drop by Metro Boomin, who sent it to a handful of media outlets and bloggers to disseminate this, to basically make it a story that Drake hasn't written everything since 2015, when the last time we heard about Quentin Miller. And basically, this track, which I heard has been floating around Atlanta, I heard that somehow he got his hand on it, and in response to people saying that Kendrick had a writer today, he put this out. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't know if should I play it again, or should I just kind of move on with, because there is some Kendrick stuff as well, and then some Roddy Ricch stuff. Then we also got to get to some, obviously, some Rick Ross and Drake shit, and then obviously we got to talk about what's going on with the whole Kendrick shit, right? Like in terms of when he's gonna respond. Okay, all right. So somebody says here, Metro's so mad. Yeah, of course. Yo, Metro is, again, if we're thinking about everybody has these bombs and nuggets, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Drake would've, should've, and probably did expect this to drop, right? Like, hey, if you've collaborated with Yachty, and by the way, here's the thing also about their collaboration. I'm calling it collaboration instead of ghostwriting because this kind of sounds like we're hearing reference track, but it sounds a little bit more polished than that. Not saying it's a final mix or nothing. Who knows? They could have been sending shit back to back and forth with each other, and Yachty's tweaking it every time. We don't know how much Drake has worked on it, even though, just to be very fair, I've heard that, this kind of was Yachty's track, honestly. But that's just honestly what I've heard. Right? Anyway, let's play it. Let's play it one more time, and then we'll kind of get into some other shit.
I just pulled me off the phone, trying to take stands. Round around my afternoon like the whole hands. I said so much last time, it's hard to leave a bed. Then I did the whole find tech in a cold red. If I tell this bitch to pull up, she gon' moped it. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unlit.
Let me actually play it and juxtapose it to like the lyrics, right? Let's see how much. Let me see how much was. To be fair, we do know Drake has given other people records, even the quote-unquote TikTok shooter, my man Baka. We know Drake had a reference for him back in the day, right? Like the song Live Up to My Name that Baka put out, which is like multi-platinum, Drake supposedly wrote it. By the way, this is not me excusing it. What I'm trying to say is that Drake and his peoples, including Party Next Door, I think maybe Quentin Miller was a little bit different story because it feels like Quentin Miller may have been brought in just specifically for that reason. Drake, Baka, Drake, Party Next Door, they've all traded or written songs for each other, right? Well, I wouldn't say necessarily Baka and Drake, but Party Next Door and Drake. Yeah, and obviously Yachty's a collaborator. So I'm describing it as that, but y'all might think I'm copping, please. Right?
Yeah, calm down. Louis pouch across my body. This is not for fashion. This is not the playground. Ain't no fist fight, bitch. I'm blasting. Niggas scared, man. Bitch, I'm trying to fuck. I've been inside for 13 years now.
And clearly that's a reference because he's actually singing as. You know what I mean? The difference with this Yachty song, like the Yachty song is like, if you listen to it, it doesn't seem like it's a reference for Drake. It actually seems like that was just Yachty's song. So whatever that was just Yachty's song. You get what I mean? It's kind of like, Jamie's a GOAT though, right? Okay, cool. There's other tracks, obviously, he's written tracks for Rihanna. Drake, Rihanna, Reference. Those to me are more reference. What song did he write for Rihanna? He wrote some song. I forgot what. Anyway, let me not stray too much away from the conversation just because y'all gonna say I'm glazing or just defending. But yeah, this is one of the bombs that not Lil Yachty, Metro has planned to drop, and he dropped today, or he dropped really pretty much an hour ago. Just to, try to switch the conversation off the whole Kendrick thing. What's your thoughts on that? Again, I'll probably play it one more time for people who didn't hear it. I like the song either way. I ain't gonna lie. But I do see how Drake made this shit. Yeah, this shit was probably all right with Yachty. Drake made it a hit.
Wake up, I just pulled me off the phone, trying to take stands. Round around my afternoon like the whole hands. I said so much last time, it's hard to leave a bed. Then I did the whole find tech in a cold red. If I tell this bitch to pull up, she gon' moped it. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unlit. I don't back and forth over no net, so just gon' dead it. See me when you see me, that bitch smoke, doggy, unleash it. Thick rockin' bitch, this my fave, I'ma gon' beat it. Looking in the mirror, kiss my face, I'm too conceited. Send that bitch home,
okay. Now, I see some people making a great point, and I guess, I don't want to just bias this argument out, so that's why I'm trying to make it open-ended. Giannis had point, he says there's a difference in writing for rap and writing for R&B, and he says rappers supposed to write their own, R&B get writers. Well, is this the type of rap that we're expecting niggas to write on, or is one of them, because it's almost like a hybrid. I'm not saying it's R&B, by the way, but it's kind of like this, I guess it's kind of rapping, but it's kind of like this sing-songy rap. I don't know, man. Yeah, if y'all want to be like, yo, he used a writer for it, fuck it. You know what I mean? And again, I do think going into this battle with Kendrick and going against the Avengers, my man Dranos, aka Drake, he's gonna have to realize that some of these things exist. And if you thought they weren't gonna come out, because you gotta imagine what Drake is thinking. Yo, Yachty's my guy, right? Yachty's my guy. This ain't like Quentin Miller. We're not gonna like. This track ain't gonna get out, especially now. You know what I mean? Right now, it would probably not be the best time for it to come out anyway, but it's not gonna get out. Well, they all record out of and work out of all these Atlanta studios, and every engineer probably touched these records, and they all gossip. Yo, did you hear? Yo, you heard that song that came out on Her Loss, right? You know, Yachty actually recorded that, right? Yeah, I still got the stems from when he did that, right? Like, you know what I mean? So there was always going to be conversation. Like, you know, again, unless Drake is creating everything in the embassy. And by the way, here's another thing that I've now realized. I've now realized. Because, truth be told, up until this point, I still haven't talked to Drake. And, like, I haven't talked to him about that song that he dropped. He hasn't even confirmed to me, like, no, yeah, nah, yeah. And by the way, when I told y'all I got the official version, that wasn't necessarily from him. You get what I'm saying? So he really hasn't commented on it, honestly, right? But at this point, you have to be an idiot to think it's AI or think whatever. I do now think, because on a facetious level for me, I thought Drake leaked the first version. I'm getting to find out now. Definitely didn't leak the first version, which now goes to some other shit. How the hell does a Drake record get leaked? Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm hearing this was floating around, this and third, from you know, I got some internet sleuths that kind of been digging it up. Apparently, Drake cooked this up next day, either played it for some people or airdropped it somewhere, or one of the engineers or whatever the case is, and that shit been floating around in the industry like wildfire. You get what I mean? I think even Ruri and Mealy Mall were alluding to it, not because Drake told them about it, because they heard it from somebody. You get what I'm saying? Now, that got leaked, and that kind of forced Drake's hand to just put it sounds flat. People are going to not give it the fair chance. And you got to be honest. I know some, like, y'all are all listening to the official version now, which I am sampled out, by the way. Y'all been listening to that version, but if you remember the first version, and if that kind of like made up your mind already, because the first impressions do matter, you might have not thought it had that punch, which obviously the final version did, okay? I do hear a lot of people asking about will Drake's diss song be on streaming services. I would say don't expect it to. By the way, here's the thing. I have got no indication that it would be. By the way, it's because I'm sampled on it, technically. The way how it usually goes, if it's going to go on DSP, they would have to get a clearance from me, which obviously I would clearly do. But, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, you know, for a multitude of reasons, right? It's not like clearing. They could even take me out of it, right? If I wasn't out of clearing. I think there's other samples on that record that is just hard to clear, or just probably wouldn't want to clear at this point, right? Drake drop and give me 50. I'll point out a few samples already. There's a Bad Boy sample in there. I don't think that Diddy right now is a sample that Bad Boy owns. I don't think Diddy right now, while he's going through shit, and Drake almost on the first version actually was about to mention him, but it was kind of redacted, and then he changed the verse on the final version to not include like something that rhymes with Diddy. You know, when he was dissing Ross, he was just like, yo, worry about what you got going on with Diddy, right? And then he changed it and he says, mind your motherfucking business or some shit like that, right?
Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. Picture on.
And there was like some Get Money shit. Like, yeah, there would be probably some sample issues. Not saying Drake couldn't clear these if he really wanted to, but I do think that Drake is going to treat this track just like how he treated the story of Adidon. I think people keep thinking about, you know, in this time where you could make so much money because all corporate, like, remember the whole thing with Drake and Meek? You had like Wendy's tweeting out shit, like trying to get their jokes in. Home Depot was trying to get their jokes in, right? Everybody used that as a marketing moment to push their brands and their company. Drake just seemed like he's just not interested in trying to capitalize monetarily or just commercially off of a hit, off of a diss song. Now he definitely did when it came to back, right? Because that damn near became a club anthem. He kind of had to, right? But at first, back to back wasn't on streaming service. That shit was dropped on SoundCloud. Charged Up wasn't on streaming services for a while too, right? I think that got uploaded like shortly before. Or a couple months before like Care Package came out or something like that. So Drake has never really tried to do the commercial, like even though it blows up, like for example, back to back, he's never really tried to, oh, I'm gonna drop my diss on a Friday. He just drops it. He usually drops it on SoundCloud or somewhere else. Anyway, I say that to say Duppy Freestyle is not on streaming services, right? I think, is the Story of Added on there? I don't know if the Story of Added on there, but I do know that samples, I believe, the story of OJ or some shit like that, right? Drake's song though, I think was a clearable song. He didn't clear it for he didn't clear it for DSPs. So if you're wondering why he's not acknowledging as he should, I do think also he's going to a level or a depth where probably he doesn't want his fans that are listening to these more mellow pop soundish R&B type records that he has just produced on For the Dogs. He don't want those same people hearing him talking about what the fuck? About to keep telling me DM. Oh my god. What is this? Oh my sweet Jesus! They're saying another diss is leaking. What's going on at OVO? Yo, I think The Weeknd has hired hackers, man. The Weeknd has hired hackers. They got the code to the OVO vault. Everything is coming out. Anyway, let me just finish my point, then I'll get into that. By the way, quick intermission. And yes, I know. I'm sorry. I got to give a commercial. Okay, we don't do. Well, if you're on Twitch, you probably get a commercial, but if you're on YouTube, you don't get them. Anyway, real quick, the Akademiks.shop. We did actually drop some merch. Listen, please go pre-order some shit. We got some new shit up there. You know what I mean? We're also dropping merch officially on the 1st of May, but we got a few items you can pre-order. Okay. Anyway, back to the bullshit. Anyway. What I'm saying is that Drake ain't gonna put this up on streaming services, okay? If it happens to be some club hit, which I don't think necessarily it is, and y'all tell me, do you think it's losing steam already? I think it's staying. I think the Ross thing is kind of like shifted the conversation a little bit, but the diss still remains. Yo, drop and give me 50, Kendrick, you're on the fucking clock. I think it's worked. It's effective. He did what he needed to do, okay? That is a song to get Kendrick to come out of his rat hole, okay? No disintended or no pun intended. Anyway, here's the thing. It's not going to go on the streaming services, so I don't think you should probably anticipate it going on streaming services, which kind of works out for rap fans because you're going to get more raw, uncut. And oh, I guess I was finishing that point too. The people, like the 80 million people who are, you know, monthly listeners of Drake, I don't think he wants them to be listening to this. Nor do I think, because he's the biggest rapper in the world, he don't want to promote his ops, right? He's talking about guys that, I know some of them are obviously relevant, The Weeknd, Future, but he ain't trying to promote Rick Ross, my nigga. To Rick Ross and Metro Boomin. No disrespect to Metro. Well, actually, all disrespect to Metro. He ain't trying to promote them bum ass. Well, actually, Ross on a bum. I like Ross. He ain't trying to promote them niggas to his audience. So that's why I think he ain't putting it on streaming services. He don't want you to listen to Her Loss, CLB, or For the Dogs, and then come hear this song, and also the vulgarity. The vulgarity that he just displayed, and he probably got to get to the level he got to get to. I don't think he want to do that either. Anyway, here's the thing, man.